The Haunting of Hill House, released in 2018, redefined what a haunted house story could be on television. Rather than relying on constant scares, the series uses grief, memory, and family trauma as its primary source of horror. In the second part of our two-part discussion, covering episodes 6 through 10, the focus shifts from individual hauntings to collective reckoning, as the Crain family is forced to confront the truths that they have avoided, the losses that they've never processed, and the house that has been quietly feeding on their unresolved grief. The final episodes transform Hill House from a place of fear to a confrontation with acceptance, closure, and the cost of silence.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of So You Like Horror. And if you were here with us last time, then you already know what we're doing this time. We're talking about The Haunting of Hill House by Mike Flanagan on Netflix. And I had my good friend Manuel and his wife Alicia. And it's me, it's Dante, and we're back. We're going to give you the rest of this episode because we're having so much fun with it the first time. We're like, yo, there's a fucking lot because it's so goddamn good.
We couldn't box it to one episode. We had to break it down.
Like, and you know what's funny is like it could have been done in one episode. It could have.
Well,
but that's not how you and I rock and roll. Like we're talkers, Manuel. We're talkers.
You know, we once made a 30-minute short episode of a 1920s horror movie last 3 hours. So how could a 10-episode season be one episode?
Dude, I know when folks be seeing your name on the marquee, they be like one of two things, like, oh, jeez. Looks like our car ride is going to be a lot of fun. Or it's like, oh, cool, Dante Manuel. Let's see what unhinged things they say today. So,
let's drive to Colorado.
I mean, hey, I'm here for y'all. I'm here. I got you. I bet you people are probably like, when they see those like 30-minute episodes, like, oh, he's by himself. When they see the hour and a half episodes, like, fuck, Manuel's there.
Sorry.
They're like, these guys. But you know what?
Yeah. Might be a little too honest right next to me.
Like, I wouldn't have it any other way, though. Like I said, I like the reason I like having you back on here is because like you challenge like my perspective on a lot of these movies and shows, and the conversation that we always kind of develop from it, I think is informational, educational, and sensational. Fuck, look at me rhyming, son.
Yeah.
Fucking poet, and I wouldn't even know it. God, yo, I'm hot right now.
What?
That was great.
It got late. It getting late.
Dude, it's 1:30 a.m. over here, so I'm like wilding out. The heat is on. I got like a space heater burning me up right now. I'm like, oh, like it doesn't feel great, but whatever the case may be. So we're going to continue on with the Haunting of Hill House breakdown here. We're actually going to start off with episode 6, The Two Storms, which this is an episode that was uniquely shot, and I always feel like when I look at the series, the key episodes were episode 1, obviously, because you get your intro, episode 5, because this is now kind of the conclusion, and you get to understand like the bent neck lady. And I'd like Two Storms as a big one too, because now you get this past and present dynamic of the family, and everybody's all in one room.
Yes.
So
yes.
The core focus in this episode is kind of a we talked about it before, the extended single take sequences that are just masterfully done. You got the parallel storms from both time periods, past and present, and you deal with this emotional and supernatural gravity of it all. And then the family communication failures, you're going to see this in both timelines. So in the past timeline, you get a violent thunderstorm that's kind of going on outside of Hill House during the family's final night there. And in the present time, you have a different storm that kind of brews emotionally as the adult versions of all the siblings reunite for Nell's funeral. So, you know, the episode kind of stands out for its extended takes, and but narratively, it is just like it's not like a technical flex, but there is kind of this.
It's beautifully shot, but it's not to take away from like the beauty of the writing on this episode. I think this is the episode that probably hits the family aspect of it the hardest. The arguments they have, the disdain they have to the dad, like
and
to each other. Yeah,
it's like like you're crying one second and then the next second you're fighting, and then you feel remorseful, and then the next minute you're like that emotional roller coaster. You ride it through the whole episode.
And I think the writing's so good because you could tell that, at least within the characters, like they knew each other. Like it wasn't just they knew each other, like they were siblings. They knew where to punch.
Yeah,
they knew where it would hurt.
And ugly.
They were ugly about it, but they were also like, oh wait, no, you're feeling bad, so let's not talk about that. Or like, yeah, you're feeling bad, but get over it, you big baby. Here's a drink. Like they knew how to relate to each other in the most familiar way because they were siblings and family in general. And I think this is the episode that really embodied like
their dynamic.
Exactly. Their dynamic
towards each other and together.
Because you really, even as kids, you really don't see them all. Like within the first 5 episodes, you don't see them all living together in one moment, connecting with each other. It's always a story about the eldest and a story about them. And you see how the other brothers and sisters come in and out of their lives, but you don't see them all in one place the way you do on this episode.
That's true. Even past and present.
This was the episode where they put them all in a room and said, "Fight."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just the thing. They can't escape each other, they're like, and with the camera work, there are no clean breaks, like, and just like the episode, like with the characters there's no easy exit, no clean breaks. There's like, it's just like you mesh it together and you make it work, you make it happen, and the gloves are off, And
would you say that the cameraman was like forcing you to live it? He was forcing you to stay. Instead of cut scene, it was like, no, let me turn around now. What do you have to say? And now I'm gonna turn all the way around and what's going on now? And it was forcing you to be present in every moment of the awkwardness, of the embarrassment, of the anger.
Yeah, it was like a cringy episode too, because it's like when you're watching people fight, like, and I don't mean like the fun kind, like, like somebody's fighting outside or, or something on a reel. I mean, like when it's somebody, like 2 people, and care about that are fighting, and you're just going like,
and they're taking like
oh dang, that
was
a low
jabs.
Yeah, exactly. You feel that.
Oof.
Yeah, like when you look at this, it gets tricky because again, they're all in the same space. They can't escape each other, and you see a lot of the grief kind of manifesting. Everybody's hurting, and it's coming out differently. Like
all the stages at midnight. Yeah.
As we mentioned with Shirley early on, that control. She's trying to maintain the control. She's trying to keep everything organized. She's trying to correct everybody. Like she's snapping at people when things are out of order. And when we talk about the stages of grief, she's anger. Her anger kind of masks her guilt over, not answering to Nell and having an unresolved relationship with Nell. So, you got Shirley there. Then we go to Theo. Theo is very detached in a lot of ways. So she's deflecting. She's using a lot of sarcasm, which again, one of my favorite characters because she was hitting those jokes. She was hitting the sarcasm perfect. And I was like, oh my God, like this girl, like how can you not love her? But like she's emotionally distanced, and obviously the physical avoidance, because like I mentioned before, when she falls down, she's drunk and they go to help her up and she, like, don't touch me, and her stage of grief, she's avoidance, suppression, denial, in some form. She refuses her gloves at the
Luke has to be depression, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Well, I'm
more. That a stage? No,
I got a list here.
I think Luke was acceptance because
I do have like a full list with all 5 of them, and it does actually have like each of the stages, because what I mentioned earlier on at the beginning is like they are kind of individualized, but also in a lot of ways they all kind of hit all of them at the same time.
No, I'm remembering when like it was almost like a very cool moment, and again, good writing where like Stephen, right, the eldest.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking Luke like, no, Luke, you gotta do this. Let's go look at your sister. And then Steven's the one that falls apart. Like he's the one that's like he just can't handle it
in a really irrational way. Like, he starts talking about like nonsense, and everyone's like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
And it was a little glimpse into, dude, you're always talking about everybody else's weird mental health issues and stuff, and then here you are in one moment, and it came out like butter.
Yeah,
like he goes up
real quick.
And he goes, "Yep, that's her. She's dead." And like he walks off.
It was so awkward. Yeah, it was so weird.
Yeah, it was, and that's so real too.
Yeah.
That's what's ugly about that episode. You know, as someone who's unfortunately had to have gone to a couple of these things in my life, it is such. And you think that doing one means the next one's easier, and it's just not. You know, I think that's where what's her sister's name? The unattractive one who's mean. Was it Shelby? What's her name?
Shelby.
That's Cheryl. Worse.
Cheryl. Yes, Cheryl. Yes, my bad. Cheryl. Cheryl, like her control of the situation, it doesn't stop her from breaking in that one, because she's like, I've done 1,000 of these. This is what I do. But even she doesn't have the strength to really go through this one. Like it was just too much for her, because it's different when it is your kin, when it is your people. It doesn't have to be family per se for me, right? But it does matter. You know, it does matter when it's someone you care about. And in this case, it's their sister. And I think it does show the very real ugliness of being in a moment, and they portray it in such a way that's like very genuine. It's very genuine. I get the ghosts. I get that there's creepy things happening with the lighting because of the storm, and it ties perfectly with the storm that happened when they were younger that deeply affected them. But at its core, it's an ugly human fear. The biggest monster in this episode is the human fear of being in that position.
Yeah. In this episode, and you don't realize it till late, again, it just ties everything together. In the 2 storm episodes, going into the past one, and the situation that happens with Nell, where everybody's looking for her because she disappeared. And at the end, what she says is exactly what ends up. It was like self-fulfilling. It was exactly what was going to happen to her. And you wonder, was this a time loop, or was this, a foretelling? But she was like, I was right here and you didn't see me. I was right here the whole time.
In that casket,
and you didn't see me.
And you didn't see me.
That's her for the rest of the series.
I didn't catch that.
She's there, but they never see her. And it was that was the perfect foretelling of what her role was going to be the rest of the show.
Yeah, it's the fucking writing on this show was just so it is masterful. And honestly, the first time I saw it, I didn't catch. I think it was the second, maybe third time I saw it, with her saying, I was right here, the whole time. You guys just didn't see me. I remember when it finally clicked for me here, and I was like, oh my God.
It's tying the 2 time zone or time pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize that now was the focus of the whole family coming together on both of them. Mm-hmm. I was thinking Storm, to be honest. I was thinking Storm when it came to the past, right? When they were young. But really it was about Nell's not there. Nell's no longer here. Mm-hmm. And then you go into the future and the whole thing's happening because Nell's no longer here, even though clearly her body's there. She's right there, but she's not.
Yeah.
And a comment is actually made about that. I believe Shirley or Theo, one of the sisters, made the comment about Nell always wanted to get us all back together.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And that was it. But when you look at Steven in this moment as well, he's still trying to be rational, but it's kind of slipping
apart. Yeah.
This is kind of the beginning where that skepticism kind of starts to fail him in some ways.
I think it's being torn down.
Yeah.
It's not failing him. I think it's falling apart.
So I think also too, with him, you got to kind of also look back to again, like he's writing ghost stories and he doesn't believe in ghosts, and then he has the encounter with Nell in his apartment, and now this. I mean, there's like, and I'm also wondering too, like, you know, all this, and then you're doing the flashbacks, and it's kind of like, are we now playing this game of like, is he starting to remember certain things?
Okay.
And now it's becoming that skepticism.
I took it too, because this was the episode that every single one of them started experiencing something supernatural. So it's like the whole first half in the series up until episode 5, Bent Neck Lady, it's only Nell, only Luke, everybody else going, like they just need to get over that never happened, like they're, you know, like that, like you get the impression the oldest 3 they never experienced this, like they don't know what happened. But then now you're going into this episode, and now even in the present, now you have where Steven turns around and sees his dead mother standing next to the casket. And then he's like, he turns back going, no, this isn't real. And then he turns back and now she's closer. And he's like, you can't deny you just experienced that. Then now you have Theo experiencing her dead mother crawling out from behind the desk, you know, and how scary that, how do you deny that? And then it goes into, you know, now everyone starts experiencing that, because later it's, you know, the knocks and the pounds.
The
and
knocks.
Yeah. So now it's
we haven't talked about the knocks though, because you and I had a good conversation about the knocks. What's your take? What's your take on the knock? Oh, is it really?
Are we jumping episodes?
Are we jumping episodes? The knocks?
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, we're still inside the funeral home.
My bad. But you said knocks. That triggered me.
It's true.
But yeah, so Steven is basically, you know, I think he's starting to, like, it's starting to come together for him now. Like he's starting to remember stuff, and now he's like, look, maybe being a cynic, you know, that's just starting to, you know, crumble around me. And then you know, you got Luke, you know, the baby now, because Nell is gone. You know, he's fresh out of rehab, and he's, you know, he's fighting. He doesn't want to relapse, but seeing his sister, like, there in the casket,
it's rough.
He's unraveling, and his sobriety becomes kind of a negotiation. So you know, he's kind of bargaining. You know, like
great wording, bro.
Like his stage is bargaining. You know, in grief. And
this episode touches on the first time the dad comes into the picture, because they've all been completely estranged, and this is the first time he's reintroduced in the present. Even though he's a big part of the past, now he's being introduced in the present, and that emotional roller coaster of how all of them are like, they miss him, but then they're mad at him. And then if one of them, like when Steven's yelling at him, Cheryl and Theo are like, really calm down. But then there's a point then now where Cheryl's talking crap to him, you know, so it's like they're all taking turns attacking and defending. And so that dynamic is introduced in that
the big swap too of like how Steven only wants to be accepted by his father, to Steven hates his father, and he's so just like does everything to belittle him and to hurt him. He is out there, like that whole time he's out there to hurt him, and he can give a shit about it. Even when he talks about like the coach thing, like where we flew and Dad insisted he wanted to coach. Everything about it is just so mean. And it's so mean and so real.
And this episode also now clearly introduces the mom back in the life as the partner to the dad. Like now we see her again as how she used to be with him. So really you sit there, start wondering like, oh wait, so like her spirit survived, like, oh, so this, you know, you start thinking, wait, so she's good again, you know, like because she's here and she's you know, she's trying to help him through it. And so there's that aspect of it too, because you're seeing some scary stuff happening, but then you see her in this light, so you're sitting there wondering like, which one of those things is real? When the funny thing is, neither of them are real, right?
That's true.
I do think something's interesting with the writing of this, and how we mentioned, you know, mid-season finales, and then, you know, like shows just take those breaks and you come back, and you kind of parallel this to episode 1, where in episode 1, even though it was a Steven-centric story, but you're seeing a lot of stuff dealing with the family concoction of it all. And in this episode, is kind of back to that, because now we have to set the stage now for this story to start to unravel a different way, because the bent neck lady episode framed it. It reframes the whole story for you. So now we got to get a reset. We get all the family in one place, past and present, and now we're getting to see these relationships I guess introduced, because again, dad has been there like through phone calls, you know, kind of with the whole Nell thing, but now dad is here in person, and many of them haven't seen him. And I mean, you got the grandkids. Oh, so you're our grandfather.
Yeah.
Why have we never seen you before?
No, I remember meeting you and he's talking to like the 7-year-old and they were like an infant.
Yeah. It's like you now have this story that's it's being like kind of turned around now. You know, it's like going up a hill, you know, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going down that hill, you know, like the climax is kind of like, oh, well,
almost reintroduction, but more like kind of like more what's what I'm looking for? Like, it's almost like a revamp of where we are now.
Yes.
Because everything's been of how it happened and how you felt. And now we're like, no, let's shake it up. This is where we are right now. Right now, no one likes no one. Everyone's mad at everyone. Hell, even Cheryl's mad at her husband the whole time.
Oh man, that poor guy.
Yeah.
Let's just give a sympathy shout out to Cheryl's husband.
Cheryl's husband, the biggest simp in the show.
Oh my god. No, honestly, I was thinking like, it was actually a really good character to introduce too, because he talk about somebody trying to keep everything together, not just for her but for everyone. Like he's over here like, can I get you something to drink? Let me try to make you comfortable.
Yeah, it takes a special person.
And then Theo's jokes like, oh, this is, you know, Cheryl's husband. He turns into a waiter, or being a waiter's mechanism.
It's funny because like when you look at like the family and you look at anyone that marries into that family, it's like, oh wow, like are you sure?
Like we could do a whole nother show. We could do a whole other show on your trauma that you thought this was a good idea.
It's like, oh, like, yeah, it's like looking at Cheryl's husband. It's like, dude, like run now. Like, just I don't think this is gonna work. Let them deal with their shit. Like, and you just go on and bounce. Take the kids, go chill somewhere. But yeah, like another thing too that we get is like, you know, Nell. Kind of the ghosts of Nell kind of popping around in the background, different points. Because, you know, even though she doesn't speak in episodes, she's still very present. And
I thought that Nell was trying to come to terms with being a ghost in this episode. I thought she was trying to like almost like she was finding her bearings of how to be a ghost or how to live in this new reality that she's in, because she's in this limbo because of the house.
That's true. Because, you know, I know we're going to go into it later and we'll touch on it more episodes to come. But even that character continues to evolve, because you're right. Because in that one, the only time I think she speaks is that, like she's just standing around looking at everybody, realizing she can't be seen. And then there's the only one part where that she notices, like she makes eye contact with her dad and she says, "Daddy," you know, like she says it, you know, and that's where he realized, and he says, you know, he comes to her, even seeing her that way, like he recognizes this is my little girl. So he's like, and he follows
because he was seeing bent neck lady.
Yeah. And then this is the really important episode where him and Luke click and they both say it without saying it. Like, so she's like, we agree.
We know what she was seeing.
Yeah.
I have real quick each of the siblings in their stages of grief, which one they represent. So Stephen, denial.
Yes.
He refuses to believe in ghosts, despite being, you know, the family member who writes about them. You know, so like he's just like, you know, none of the shit is a thing. Like he survives by insisting nothing supernatural ever happened. His denial protects him, but it invalidates everyone else.
Right.
So, you know, that's Stephen. He's denial. Shirley, we've mentioned before many a time, she is anger. There's no denying. She's an angry one. And the big points that stand out for hers are her grief. It comes out as blame. You know, I mean, like when you look at everything, again, like we mentioned, you know, she's helping everyone. She's protecting everyone. She's taking them under, under her wing or whatever, but she's still blaming them and judging them.
Yeah.
And she's angry about it. And it's like, yo, girl, chill. Like what was the line here? There's a quote here. Shirley is angry because anger feels safer than helplessness.
Damn, that's ugly.
I see what you did there.
I wasn't trying, but she is.
Theo is bargaining, and why that fits her is she negotiates with grief instead of surrendering to it. She believes boundaries equal safety. Luke is depression, and why depression fits is like he doesn't fight grief. No, or try to explain it away. He just drowns in it, and that becomes the addiction.
Yeah, he gets sucked into it. That's easy to see.
And then Nell is acceptance. She falls into that because acceptance doesn't mean peace. It just means understanding. And Nell sees the full shape of her life and death. So, I mean, and that kind of plays back to her episode, The Bent Neck Lady, where like once she sees what happens, she knows what it is. And then we're looking at the two storms. She's like trying to come to terms with the fact she's dead. How, what the fuck? Like, why are they all around? Everybody's here. Like what are you doing with that knife? Are we having cake? Like, what's up? So those are our stages as they're represented.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So yeah, for that episode though, I love it because again, it is kind of it's now the marker for the rest of what's about to happen, because like we said, those other episodes were like, how do we get here? And now that we're here, where are we going? And that's where we go from episode 6, which was Two Storms, as we jump into episode 7, Eulogy. And the core focus with this, what's up?
Before we leave episode 6, I really have to give a shout out to Michel Gondry and the Michel Gondry technique they used on this episode. When the father is looking for his wife because she was looking for Nell upstairs, and he goes into that stupid hallway that doesn't lead to anything. So we're like, what's the point of having that hallway that would lead to a dead end? But anyways, I digress. He sees her at one corner of the hallway going right. And when he gets to that corner, he looks over, and now she's on the other side going left. And it's kind of like, oh, what the heck, right? But that technique is a practical technique for film that Michel Gondry introduced. And he's just this director who's really cool. But when I saw that, I instantly thought like, oh my God, that's so cool. Because they did this practically. That's why they built this stupid hallway, because it was easy to do there. And I just thought it was cool because, again, it's done in one shot. And like, how do you unless it's CGI, how do you do it where you're following someone going one direction and all of a sudden you look and you pan over and now they're in the other direction? And so I thought that I feel like it's practical camera work, but I don't know. But it looked really cool, and it reminded me of like some old techniques that were done like in the 90s and 2000s.
This is why we pay you the big bucks, Manuel.
I nerded out there.
Is this the same thing like where they say they built that weird staircase where it looks like you're going down and up at the same time?
Yeah, it's an optical illusion.
In the ring.
Yeah, it's an optical illusion type thing, and yeah, I mean, hey, crowd, all two of you still listening at this point, if
we usually have 4 at this point.
If you ever want to go into a cool little deep dive, a director named Michel Gondry. He did a lot of he did the White Stripes Legos video. He's really, really cool, really revolutionary. He directed Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. He's a super cool dude. So yeah, and that effect was one of the ones that he used a lot.
Because it makes you feel confused.
It does.
It's an unsettling feeling.
You're following a live camera going one direction, following the wife, and you turn and you haven't stopped cutting. You haven't cut the scene yet. And you look this way, you're following that person. You look over, and now that person's in a whole different area. You're like, how do they do that?
Yeah.
And like, it's really cool. It adds to confusion of it. It adds to the kind of like supernaturalness in a way. Like how did you do that? Like
the
what the
illusion
heck?
Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really
like you almost think the wife's already a ghost at that point.
Yeah, and then you realize later that that's what's happening. She's going back and forth in time, and so that's when she's wandering. Is when she's already a ghost, but she's still alive.
My wife's gonna be really annoyed when I come upstairs and she's asleep and I turn this episode on. She's gonna be really pissed. It's like I'm just putting it on to go to sleep, honey. I was like, no, I'm taking notes now.
You know what I want to say too about the two storms before I don't look at where we keep sticking to 2 episodes.
It's such an important episode.
It's key.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many cool things. I wanted to point out that both storms destroyed the home. They destroyed the home in real life, and then it destroyed the forever little model home in the other one.
Ooh,
so it's like there was a destruction of the house in both the storms, which I thought, that's cool how they, happen in both timelines.
See? Mike Flanagan out here doing stuff. It's like, let's see if they notice. Like, look, I'm gonna let them know. Look, I bring on guests who notice. All right, I might not notice, but my guests be noticing. So don't play with us. We professionals, son. Yeah. Professionals, but don't expect the sound quality to be professional because I'm not really professional.
Hey, we got 2 people, 1 mic over here.
I'm just a guy like with barely a mic. Like sometimes I don't even know if it's facing the right way. So who fucking knows?
That mic is 80% your face, brother.
Yeah, we're just seeing nothing but mic right now. 7, right?
So episode 7, Eulogy.
6.
Eulogy.
Oh, really?
Moving forward, 7.
Yeah, 7.
Right.
7. Eulogy. And our core focuses here is going to kind of focus on the mom, the loss of the family matriarch, and we get to reframe Olivia beyond the madness, and you also kind of focus on her memories and the protection that she has for the kids and everything, and her family in general. So this is also, I guess this is more so like the dad's perspective of the mom, really. Hugh's viewpoint. So the episode opens up, still at the funeral, but unlike the earlier episodes, this one's kind of framed almost entirely through the dad's perspective. He gives the eulogy for Nell, and he struggles to kind of get through it. Yeah. And he's very careful in how he's choosing his words, pausing a lot and redirecting. His speech kind of mirrors how he's lived most of his life since leaving Hill House, kind of guarded. And from the start, the episode kind of signals that this isn't about the ghost in the hallway as much as it's about what a parent carries when they survive their child. You have to bury your child. That's got to be tough. There's also one thing I've seen it recently, but I remember hearing about it, or like talk about basically siblings. One of the sad things about having a group of siblings is one's gonna see all of the others' funerals. There's gonna be one that's not gonna get to experience any of them, and it's like, dang, that's
heavy.
Yeah.
This episode is all the dad's perspective, but one of the things that I really like about it too is that it gives you the insight or the truth behind the, oh my gosh, and I'm going to forget their name now, right? But the caretakers, like they finally give their story and their reasoning for why they don't stay after dark. Like they've touched on it, anytime they do the flashback about like, no, we don't stay after dark. No, we're usually gone by this time. So you hear it, and then this one gives you the reason why. And it's the first time that I guess it's being told to him, hey, there is something supernatural here from somebody other than his kids. And I think that was super important, because now it's like he can't keep denying something. I feel like he knew something was up, but it took another adult telling him like, hey, your wife needs some time away because there's something up.
That kind of ties the journey from the dad to the journey of Stephen, because the dad doesn't talk about it so much, but you could tell he's a little bit no nonsense, right? But the mom does touch on it. Like, we're not really, actually, he does say it. He's like, we're not the religious type. Like, he's like, he was talking to just the father, caretaker father, right? He's like, yeah, I appreciate it, but
Dudleys.
The Dudleys, yeah.
Yes.
Dudley man. I don't know, Dudley Senior. I don't know.
I think you might prefer Mr. Dudley. I don't know.
Mr. Dudley. There you go. I don't know why that wasn't coming to me, but Mr. Dudley was basically saying like, "Oh yeah, this and this and that," and the dad Hugh was like, "Oh well, I'm not really a believer, but yes, yeah, I hear what you're saying. The message was received, right? I think he said the message was received.
Yeah,
and he's a skeptic.
Yeah,
a lot like his son, the eldest. He's a skeptic, and it was the journey of the dad to that moment, becoming from a skeptic to a believer. And in a way, Stephen's journey was the same.
Yeah.
And I didn't really put that together until right now that you were saying it. Like their journey mirrors each other so much, which becomes more telling towards the end of the season, which I won't spoil where we're going with it, but it is. At this point, you're seeing that journey starting to mirror.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I always kind of think about with the Hugh, the dad's journey, is that, like you mentioned, he knew something. He's always known. It was just a matter of like, because I think as you play this game of like, the mom was sick, mom had mental health issues, and there's a point where he has to kind of accept, but in order to protect the kids, because Hugh, he does kind of play this role as protector. When they talk about they're trying to pin this as a murder on him, so he's got to go to court and he's got to stand trial, and he's like, don't we're the kids, I don't want my kids on the stand.
He's willing to be guilty. He's willing to, whatever will come. I'm sticking to this story. You're not putting my kids up there. Like, he's definitely willing to go down with the ship.
He chooses to become a martyr, and I think it has a lot to do with the guilt of, I could have prevented this.
Yeah.
Like, the whole time he's like, oh, I can fix it. And he realized, no, I didn't fix it. So
no. What's funny is that this might be stealing the story later, but he fixed it.
Yeah.
He did. He actually did fix it. And then I won't steal episode 10, but he does fix it. And I think this is him fixing it the only way he can.
For that moment.
That moment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he takes the blame for Olivia's death. And he, like, for him, like, being silent, like withholding the truth, is kind of an act of love, in his old viewpoint. So, he lets the kids believe he abandoned them emotionally. Yeah. When in reality, I mean, he loved his kids very much. And that was the whole point, though. It's like, he loved them so much that he took this hit. He took this blame and he took the isolation. And it's kind of shitty because they think, this guy was a horrible guy. They, they think he didn't care. But in reality,
he cared so much.
He shielded them.
Yeah, he was like, you're entitled to that. Like, you're entitled to that feeling. And yeah, I understand you feel this way. And of course you could feel that way. Like, that's such a big person, to be honest, to be like, you're shitting on me and I understand why you are. And I'm not mad at you for doing it. Like, that's so big. That's so big.
And we didn't even mention it. I don't want to go backwards because we're progressing, guys. We're moving forward. I'm trying not to go backwards, but it just reminded me right now, that whole love thing. It just reminded me in the previous episode when they reunite, how what it was really quick to show was how he saw them when he walked into the room with all in their little, when they were kids.
God, that killed me as a dad.
And when he first saw Nell in the coffin, he saw her as little Nell, 6-year-old Nell. That was so heartbreaking. But that reaffirmed that he's there out of love, even if they all hate him and they're mad at him. Like, he's never lost.
No, he never lost
love.
Like,
to him, they were always his babies.
And he's always dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was one of those things with him, though, too. Like, he, like, absorbed that anger without correcting the kids. Like, whatever story they wanted to tell, he was like, whatever. He never corrected them, though, because for him, it wasn't important to get the it wasn't important to get whatever the facts may be. He just wanted
to. Mm-hmm. He did it with his wife too. He let her talk about migraines. He let her talk about not feeling well and just needing time, even though he should have known. Like, look, you're not well in general. Like, you are not well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, his silence wasn't cowardice. It was like sacrifice.
It was acceptance. Is like, I can't change it. I will just take it.
Yeah. When you go back to like the ideal, like, well, what happened to Olivia? Everyone has a different spin on it. Everybody has a different viewpoint, but only he knows what he saw. Only he knows, because like, even when like, this might be kind of jumping ahead a little bit, where, they're running from the house, getting the kids in the car. And he's like, he grabs Steve and was like, look, I'm going to carry you. Do not look.
Close your eyes.
He looks in the hallway and he sprints carrying his eldest son. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, he's a protector, he's a dad. And that's the thing, as a parent, period, but, as the dad, it's like, you're that protector, especially in this moment, because mom is going through what she's going through. So you have to stand. He has to stand, and he does it. He protects those kids.
Yeah.
And as it goes through the rest of their lives, they have whatever story in their minds made up of this man and the things that they've seen in the tabloids and heard on the news. And he's like, look, whatever you want to believe it. But I'm not going to, sully this story any further and change things and flip the narrative.
And I'm not sure how you took this as a female coming from the feminine approach, but to me, it's like the ultimate masculinity of a dad, of a man, just taking it. Basically, that's kind of like what, and I'm not saying that every guy does this, but it's kind of the aspiration of masculinity to be able to take the hits and still do what you're supposed to do as a man. It does touch on a very fundamental part of masculinity and malehood. That you will be able to take the blow, and even though you want to say "fuck you," I actually did this and this and this, you will not say it for the greater good, and it's a high mark for masculinity, right? And I don't know how like a feminine approach would understand his story, but I just saw like ideal fatherhood in this, ideal masculinity, to be like just be stoic about eating it. You got to eat it. Your wife was crazy. Oh, she had problems. Oh, but you're an idiot for doing this and this. Okay, you think that. Oh, you were a bad father because of this and this and this. You're entitled to your opinion. It's like ultimate stoic, like the ultimate stoic. It's so strong in its showing of weakness. It looks weak outside looking in. Like what a weak man. Like. He couldn't save his wife. He abandoned his children. He didn't do very well in this and this. He didn't fix the house. But then at the same time, like in his own heart, he was the one holding it together. Like, I'm keeping it together for my wife. I'm not going to like, even you can see it more. Like his wife is guiding him to be a better person throughout the episode. Like she's like, no, don't do this. No, you should know better. If you do this, is a bad thing. And he's like trying to like follow her and be a good person.
One of the things too is like thinking about the house and its effect on both Hugh and Olivia.
Okay.
Right. The house kind of does this thing where it's got its residents now. It's got to break them down. It's haunting the kids in one way or the other. And we'll get to that with the Red Room later, because the Red Room is something different for everyone. But when you look at the parents, the house
breaks them
attacks
down in ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. It attacks.
That is a flexible house.
Well, it gets Olivia with like maternal fears, right?
Yeah.
Like she's worried about like, she's losing her mind. She feels like, she's got to protect these kids, and how I protect them. Well, I got to poison them. I gotta, you know.
Yeah,
So
this is
because
the
the world outside is so ugly. Is what she feels. And
so
that's a very maternal fear. And with him, it's that he can't fix it.
You
like,
can't
he
fix
can't
it. Oh, you can't fix this. Yeah.
well, and that's the thing though too, is like
sides.
Yeah, it's both their fears. It's exaggerating them. So
well, even with the whole he can't fix it, the thing about that with the house, there's always a new task for him to fix in that house.
Yeah.
Always something new. And you don't quite look at it because you look at initially they bought the house as a fixer up, they're going to fix it and sell it. But it seems like each thing gets worse and worse. Oh, we got mold. Well, that's going to be tough to fix. Oh, we got rats. We got to fix that. We got to knock this wall down. And it seems like it's a never ending thing, almost to a point where it's like the house is like setting them up.
It's like keeping him busy so he could focus on the other things.
Oof.
That's what
yeah.
The house is his distraction from his real priority, which is his wife and kids.
And like you look at this thing where his silence is supposed to be like protecting the kids, but the silence is actually harm.
Oh yeah,
because like when you look at the reality of it, you know, he has this belief that if I don't tell them, I'm keeping them safe. But in reality, Stephen grows up and, you know, he grows into denial, you know, skepticism. Shirley, she becomes a control freak. You know, Theo, she's emotionally detached. Luke is an addict. Nell, she's isolated. And you know, this is all a big part of like that falling out at the end of the house, you know, them leaving the house. And now, you know, everybody's kind of scattered and doing their own thing. And doing their own thing, they're all in their own places again. You know, Stephen doing the book. And they do their own things to kind of isolate themselves too, but still the core comes from there. The core comes from that house. If they're not at that house, these characters probably don't go through these things. Yeah. So his silence prevents, you know, immediate terror, but it kind of creates long-term problems for them. So
but I mean, like, would it have been that much better? Like, oh yeah, by the way, your mom committed suicide after she killed some child.
Well, he touched at the end. He said it best. It comes across like the whole time it comes across like, oh, he's trying to protect them. He's trying to protect them. Because that's what he keeps saying. That's what he keeps saying. But at the very end, he shares like the epiphany of the whole series is when he tells Stephen, some things can't be told. They have to be lived. Yeah. And I think that's what he realized. Like, there's no point in telling them because they're going to now think I'm crazy. There's no point in telling them because they're not going to believe me anyways. Like, there's going to be a day that they might realize it, but at the same time, that's the day he never wants them to have to experience it because it's that ugly. So that's what it came down to.
Like thinking about it too as a parent, and we've all been kids ourselves. And, you know, you tell your kid, don't do this. You tell your kid, don't do that. And what do? They do it. You know why? Because the best teacher is experience.
Yeah.
Got to live it. You know, I'm going through that now with my child constantly. Like, it is nonstop. Like, don't do that. Okay. You know what? Go ahead and do it. Go ahead. Yeah. Jump down the stairs. It's fine. Go ahead. Like, learn. You're about to learn right now. So some of the themes and takeaways from this episode is parental guilt. That's the big one. Love is a liability. Truth versus timing. And you know, the big thing about that is, you know, you're trying to figure out whether truth is always healing or whether the timing of that is what matters more, you know. And then grief as an inheritance, and that shit is huge for not even just a story, but that's huge in life.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no.
Period. So,
and again, the grief as inheritance, that is exactly the embodiment of the family drama horror genre. I think that's what it really plays with the most.
Yeah. As we get to episode 8, Witness Marks, our core focus here is Luke's slipping to rock bottom, the physical evidence of haunting trauma, and accountability versus compassion. So
Full disclosure, this is my wife's episode.
Oh. Well, good, because this was one that was kind of tricky for me because I've watched it back to back a few times. It's like it was a fine episode, but it was like I feel like I'm missing something here.
Yeah.
Like even in the notes, I still feel like I'm missing something here.
I get it. Like it's almost like I think because of who I married, I understand what I'm supposed to understand, but I don't feel it.
Yeah, that was it. I wasn't feeling it, and not in a bad way. Like, this episode sucked. No, it was just like as I watched it, I felt like, and it could be like coming off of the previous episodes. It's like there's almost kind of a
hangover.
Yeah, like
you're drained from the other.
This episode is coming from the other episodes. This episode seems like how our kids say, because they're anime fans. They're like, oh, it's a filler episode. But I didn't think that at all. I felt like, okay, this is the episode where the most important connections are made from like everything in the beginning. Like this to me is the connection episode because, they're like, this is where the sisters connect again. So Theo and Cheryl connect after the angry stuff. And this is where I feel Nell's character starts building her strength because her character, even though it's absent in it, is evolving because she keeps interrupting them while they're fighting. Like she's saying stop. And so now she has control in her new existence. Like she has control now. So she
was the one knocking.
Yeah, that's what I thought right away. I was like, oh, she's the one knocking. Like she's the one
trying
saying
to stop.
Stop being angry, stop fighting, and because every time they would, like that interrupted it. So there's that. And then I feel like with the dad and Steven, this is the episode where even though the dad's not disclosing, he's calling him, like he's basically bringing to light, like, dude, I read your book. You saw ghosts the whole time. Like this never happened. I never, like, that's when we all realized that a treehouse never existed. That's when we all realized
the first call out of the red room being what it is.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me, like the feeling I got watching this one is the same feeling I got when at the end of what was that movie? I think it was called Dark Skies, that alien movie, where it's like the whole time they're saying, the first one that made contact with the aliens, that's usually the one that they're going to abduct and this and that. And you're thinking one thing and then you realize later, oh my God, it was the wrong kid. That wasn't even the one. That's where I realized, wait, so the eldest, Steven, was the one seeing things the whole time, but didn't realize it. Like he was
almost the most involved.
Like he was the one that saw the most rooms because he saw the treehouse. Mm-hmm. He saw, he saw his game room. And, he experienced like the scratches that, his dad did. Like, so he saw what everybody else did, whereas they were only experiencing their own thing, but he just didn't realize it. And then, that's the scene where like him and his dad connect, where now there's a mission. Like now they're both there to save Luke. So now they're, so I kind of felt like this was the one where it was like, you're getting the band together to go kick some ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it kind of felt like that. Like it's the one that brought it really together as far as like what they need to do next.
It felt like kind of like the beginning of the end. Like, now we're rallying the troops because we have to go deal with this now in the present versus the other episodes we're just kind of building. And I don't know, like every time I watch episodes, like again, it's fine, it's enjoyable, but I don't even look at it as like a filler episode. I think like I was saying before, the other episodes was just so much, was so heavy. I felt a fatigue. It was like, because I always feel like when you have a show with 10 episodes, there's not a lot of room for a filler episode at all anyway. So it's like they might have one that feels a little slower, but it's not that it's slower as much as it's kind of doing something different with the story, but it's still there. You just have to kind of, either take a, kind of breather or step back and look at it, or you have to, just, I don't want to say like, oh, take a couple of days off and come back and it'll be all right. No, it's like you just have to kind of, reposition your frame of thought on it. Like, how do you want to approach this?
My biggest thing was on this episode, you touched on it, was Nell finding her ability to interact more. Like, I think that was
making her presence
known. I think that was what this episode was transitioning. Like, you're still kind of like in the hangover state of her wake, right? Of her funeral. And meanwhile, she is just getting into her like prime of post life entity.
And let's just talk about Nell too and her involvement, because we went through, bent neck lady last episode, and then we went through her like at her own funeral, and she's with this bent neck, and she's like all creepy standing there and whispering, like calling out to her dad, which is totally creepy. And then we go into this one, and now she's still creepy, but her neck ain't bent. She's straightforward neck saying like, stop, to her sisters fighting. And it scares the heck out of them because she did this, and she's like a stronger presence, but like now she's a little more upright. And now like the banging on the doors and the windows. And then I love that when she comes back in the final episode, she's almost like, her like pretty. Yeah, like she's pretty. Her neck's not bent. She's calm. She's like composed, that she comes out very graceful, like, yeah, total acceptance. Like that goes into that role, but that's how it evolved. So as the family's evolving, like in connecting dots, it's like she's getting stronger in where she's at as well.
Yeah. Not terrible. Now that I think about it, not terrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the best of the 10, no, but it's it's a good one.
It has its place. So there's I guess a metaphor in here being repairs. Like it's specifically the ideal that when something breaks, basically, because that's kind of ideal of the title. One of the metaphors is repair, specifically the ideal that when something breaks, examine the damage reveals how it failed. So you're looking at really the family in general, but this kind of mirrors Steve's role in the family. So he repairs the story by rewriting it into something more manageable, even not just Hill House, but like the lady that he met in the beginning, where he's writing a story about her husband and then their home, Alcatraz, all these different things. So it's like that's his whole thing, is repairing stories. It's like, well, look, we're going to fix it. He edits trauma into profit, but he's still repairing. And I guess the episode kind of argues repair without honesty is just concealment. So like witness marks, kind of shows the proof that something happened, whether Stephen likes the explanation or not. The fact is, shit was happening. Mirrors are broken, like objects are broken, people have marks, things happened, and it can't be denied. You're dealing with generational trauma. You got Hugh's secrecy, Olivia, her instability, the children's fear of being forgotten or minimalized or reframed. So, you get kind of a lot of that here in this episode too, from the kid perspective. Just looking at the themes and takeaways as we get ready to move on to the next one. You got denial as survival. Truth leaves marks. You can write a story all you want, but the damage leaves evidence.
Yeah.
Again, generational trauma. The kids didn't just experience Hill House. They inherited the consequences. And rationalization as failure. Understanding something intellectually is not the same as honoring it emotionally. Because you can always say, yeah, I get it, I know, but do you feel it?
Do you accept it?
Like, yeah, because if those aren't the things,
difference.
Yeah, it don't mean nothing. So, man, fuck them. Like sometimes you just gotta like say that, just kind of let people know, hey, we still here. All right. We might be making some sense sometimes, but also I cuss. Because I've had people complain about the podcast. Oh, you guys cuss too much. Bitch, fuck you.
The fuck we do.
Right. Like even when I did episode with my daughter, I said something. I was like, man, fuck them kids. And she goes, Dad. Like, but I said it in a way where I didn't know I said it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm just too used to saying fuck them kids.
You know what? I mean, honestly, like the reality is, studies have proven that people who swear are more honest. Yeah.
I mean, I just saw a thing of like people who stay up late, who have messy like workspaces and curse a lot are smart. And I was like, oof, y'all might have missed one. Like I don't know how smart I am, but I cuss a lot. So I got you there. All right. So episode 9, Screaming Meemies.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always like the title of the episode. It just, I don't know. It makes me smile. The core focus here is the mom's descent within Hill. I keep wanting to say Hell House. Hill House.
Really, what it is.
Gaslighting, isolation, and psychological erosion, and the house's manipulative intelligence. And that's huge because the house starts fucking with people.
Yeah. Well, at this point, it's clear that the house has an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing. I think it's not like me personally, right? I don't think the house is good or bad. I think the house is a collector.
Yes.
And I think the problem is it grabbed some bad entities. Because there were some good entities there too. You could see them show up, especially in this episode. You see good spirits and bad spirits, where really you saw a scary spirit, but you're learning that like the tall floating was it bowling ball hat guy? What's it called?
Bowler hat man.
Bowler hat man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you see that he's scaring Luke, but he's not trying to. Like he's not trying to. Like he could have attacked him. He could have done a jump scare. He just took his hat back.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's fairly innocent.
My property.
Oh, my hat. There it is. Like it's fairly innocent when you think about it, right? He's inspecting what the noise is. What?
So that was one of the earlier notes too, with Hugh, as he was talking about the house. Was like the house doesn't want bodies; it wants permanence.
Mm.
And when you think about all the ghosts, all the spirits that are there, that's all it wants. Just, to some degree, it's kind of sad. It just wants, I mean, you can look at it in many ways. It just wants to be remembered. Mm-hmm. The essence of the house just doesn't want to be alone, whatever it may be.
The most biological purpose, life finds a way.
Yeah.
It's finding a way to continue to exist.
Shout out to Jeff Goldblum.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to that the Fly episode, a few months back with Marilyn Phil and I, and Jeff Goldblum's, just being Jeff Goldblum in every role. Because you always got to throw that rock.
Because I'm great.
Like he found a role and he was like, I'm gonna do this in every movie. It's like, all right, buddy. But this episode kind of shifts the focus completely on Olivia, the mom. And it kind of reframes earlier events through her mental and emotional state deteriorating. So up until this point, Olivia has always been kind of remembered through the children's memories as we watch this show take place. We're only really seeing it through their eyes, loving, nurturing, and tragically lost. So this episode kind of shows how she was lost. You kind of get Olivia as the emotional center of the family, which in almost every case, the mom is, the matriarch is the emotional center of this.
Well, I think it's touching on femininity too, to be honest. I think that's what it's touching on. Like her softness was the key. And it's funny almost because, like, how you say, she was almost rougher than the dad.
Yeah.
but at the same time, she was also much softer and much more like kind of loving and gentle. And it's weird how that happens because she is the more like you hear about like how she hit her daughter when she threw a rock through the was it greenhouse. And like you hear like when she kind of snaps at the kids like, stop, I just need some space. And like it's almost like she still was that softness, even though she was the one where dad like literally got his hand cut almost completely off.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's fine. Just, just go. I don't really need help anymore. Like he was able to refrain, like, which is, not the kind of dad I knew or the kind of male figures I knew.
Yeah. That's not what I would have got back in the 80s.
I would have got a backhand right there.
Oh yeah. Like I would have got put through a wall.
Pretty much put through that brick wall, right? I would really easily understand why the guy bricked himself in.
Yeah, he's like, maybe he didn't brick himself in. Maybe he fucked up.
Maybe he was like 12 and he left the glue out.
Yeah, and here we are. Now he's stuck in that wall. But yeah, like Olivia being that emotional center is huge because I mean they're like important observations. She senses when the kids are afraid, before they can really explain it. Like she feels like Luke and Nell's sensitivity more intensely than than Hugh does, and I think when you look at it, really, Hugh didn't really have you didn't really observe much of a relationship with him in the younger two. To be quite honest, when they're younger, it seemed like when they're older, maybe there's a little bit more connection, but when they're younger, that was all Olivia, and the younger two specifically, and she believes that it's her responsibility to protect them from future pain. Like though Hugh is kind of shielding them in his own way, but again, I think it's kind of that Shirley thing where reluctantly, like I have to do this, whereas like Olivia was like, this is my job, I am going to do this, like by any means.
Like, even if you follow the episodes prior, like when he wants to say something to a kid or just mention something, he's kind of like listening to his wife be the better judgment. Like he's like, you're right, yeah, you're right. And he'll be like, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Or like another situation where like he's talking to Cheryl and she's like, don't do it. He said, don't do it. And he doesn't listen to her and it goes horribly wrong. She just like snaps. And she's like, told you. Like she is like the voice of reason. And you're kind of giving you a better sense. And they also reiterate it a lot throughout the season of like, we were perfect. We were great together until the end. The end wasn't her. And so they're showing you more tidbits of who she really was. The kind parent, the loving parent, the understanding parent.
And the forgiving partner. Because he talks about how like he left for a minute in the beginning. Like he was overwhelmed. Like new life, new baby, new that. And they separated. And then he comes back and she like no words needed to be said, And so, yeah, it's a totally.
It shows her depth. It shows her ability of forgiveness. It shows her softness. And I think like now you're seeing that as a full character as opposed to just the allude to her, right? So when you see the full character and then you see her go from that to like. Towards the end, she's like manic almost. Like it's pretty ugly.
Yeah,
I don't think she has a really good grasp towards the end.
Yeah,
she plays it well. Like she's totally everywhere.
Yeah, I mean the house is very instrumental in the manipulation. It kind of convinces Olivia that like it tempts her not with like cruelty, it's not trying to scare the kids, it's not trying to scare her, but it's trying to like tempt her with safety. Like, again, you got to protect these kids. How do you protect the kids? Because the house kind of reframes like things like death as mercy. Pain is inevitable. Time's going to destroy the kids. Ending suffering early is a form of love. All these weird fucking things.
That same quote again, caught in the comfort of a trap.
Yeah.
It feels safer almost to do that. Yeah. It feels a better way out.
And that's almost kind of a theme with like the kids as they're older, just in their emotional well-being. It's just safer to be this way than to approach or go head on with whatever it is. It's just safer just to be in denial. It's safer to be distant, so
is this the episode 2 where the flapper kind of shows her true self too, or is that the next episode?
I believe it's this one.
Yeah, that's where she kind of like her poisonous tongue kind of like really shows itself, like, and I genuinely don't think she's speaking for the house. I think she's speaking for herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because there's another spirit in the house who says like, don't listen to her, like it kind of stops her in her role, kind of like tries to be this the voice of reason, almost as an older lady, I think. Like, and I think like that's kind of like very telling of the house's willingness to accept whatever means it can to survive and to exist, and then letting each individual spirit kind of be who they are. And it's kind of like every other situation where if you're in a room full of 100 good people and one bad person, that bad person is probably going to take the lead.
Yeah. So like, you kind of look at these spirits, this entity, the house in itself as a predator of some sort. It doesn't create pain. It kind of weaponizes it.
It does. Yeah. It's almost like an unfair playground.
Yeah.
Where the bullies run it.
Yeah. I think just with this episode, as you see Olivia, in this fear of protecting her kids, she's being corrupted by the house. She's being told like, you got to do these things. And then that ultimately leads to her own undoing.
Yeah.
And I think this is where Hugh comes in big, because it's like, I got to protect these kids. And he does. It's like she had already, killed Abby with the rat poison.
Wait, and she had, yeah.
Well, yeah, episode, this is where it happens.
Yeah, this.
Like basically,
I thought that was episode 10 though. That they show it.
Well, they show the action happening, but they show the aftermath in episode 10.
Okay.
Yeah. And like Luke and I was gonna say Luke and Leia. Luke and Nell, were like right there. They were, on the cusp. They were about to, fall victim. And
maybe that's why they're so fucked up too, because they definitely they repressed that too.
Yeah.
Because they even talk about that. They're like, I don't remember anything of that. Do you even remember, Mom? Which to me is wild, because I lost my parents when I was like 4, almost 5, and I have memories of them. Like, so it's like,
that was one of those low blows though that they were saying out of anger.
Like
it was a mean thing to say, because first of all, you
6 years old, you're gonna remember something. Like, if I remember at 4, almost 5, and I have memories, and I'm not gonna say like they're the most memories, but I have memories. I have core memories.
Yeah, 4 is around when it starts, like your memories start to really form and like settle in, so you can recall like a day, like you remember a specific birthday or a party, and so at 6, it's a little firmer.
You're pretty good at. You're gonna remember moments in general,
and especially that kind of moment.
Yeah, you saw someone die.
Kind of big.
Yeah, it was the moment that basically shaped the rest of your life, because your father was almost put away for murder, and you had to escape your house at 3 a.m, and
Yeah,
your siblings keep bringing it up every chance they get.
Yeah. So I really think that was some deep repression there if they didn't remember that. So
yeah, I mean, it's yeah, you're like nailing some points here. That's like, even though I think the show is like excellently written, there's some things that was like, oh man, I want to dig into that because
you know what's like, sadly true. I disagree, bro. I think that's sadly true.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna find a 7-year-old who doesn't remember their first 5 years or first like 0 through 7. They don't remember it, and if they don't remember 0 to 7, all you got to know is that was probably messed up time in their life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
they touched on it. When what's his name's wife's name?
Olivia.
Lee. No, Lay.
Lee
in the show.
Lay.
The empath.
Wait, what? Oh, Theo. When Theo's talking. No. When, the director's right. Wife. I was like, wait, what? Like, whose wife?
Like, yes. No, when Theo is talking about the little girl who's being, mistreated, for lack of a better term, right? Or the actual term, or the shitty term.
Yeah.
She says it. She says
she built a wall.
A wall so thick I could not see what was actually happening.
Yeah, I could not even feel it. Is what she said. Yeah.
But I made it out. So that's the thing. Like you're fucking someone up so bad that they're gonna build these walls to protect themselves. So they touch on it earlier, and I think that's kind of what she did, and maybe her helping of people, and maybe his drug addiction, maybe I guess I don't want to make it sound like that's an issue, right? But the sleep issues that Nell had, maybe everyone's issues was them just trying to find a way to like build a wall to protect themselves, which would be kind of poetic in the sense that you found a guy who was dealing with this in that house who literally built a wall and killed himself. Mm-hmm. So like it is kind of poetic that they would touch on it in such a way where he built a literal wall where everyone else built their own emotional walls.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier with each of them as, all their coping mechanisms, whether it be, Shirley kind of being a control freak.
Right.
She has to control everything. She can control everything. She can keep these things from happening, the bad things from happening. Theo shielding everyone away. If she can keep everyone at a distance, she can't get hurt again. Luke, again, with addictions, him getting lost in the drugs. I can't be hurt. I can't be chased by these demons. Nell with, the night terrors and the sleep paralysis. I mean, unfortunately, she couldn't get away from it. I mean, she's kind of the center of it all anyway. She's the catalyst. Everyone had their own walls, their own things, and unfortunately, it seems like Nell couldn't get a wall built up, and it became her undoing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So last episode here, wrapping up quick. Silence Lay Steadily. Episode 10. Court focused confrontation with Hill House. The Red Room revealed ambiguous closure. So, I mean, that's the big thing is the Red Room, because we do see now.
Yeah.
There are many different scenes throughout the show where the kids were in a different room in the house or the tree house. Theo dancing to Paula Abdul, Cold-Hearted Snake. The Red Room was previously disguised as kind of a different safe zone. They, like they had a key. They couldn't get into that room. You see, the one clip of them at one point, they can't get in. And then you see movement under the door. You find out later on that was Theo and they're dancing, however you like flip these things around and twist them. It's like, I don't know. Like
that was my hiccup. Like that was my hiccup with the show in general. Like, I guess I know me. Like I would have put a brick through it. I would have drove a truck through it. Like there's no way I'd live in a house for months let alone days, that I couldn't get into a room. Like that was my big hiccup. I don't care how supernatural, I would have found a way in that room. There wouldn't be the show ended because my dumb ass fucking like burned the door down or something. Like it's just that was my only hiccup about it. Like I get it, it had to exist that way to make the whole thing make sense. But that was my thing.
I mean,
Luke's classes.
Yeah, look, man, those middle class white kids is built different, son. They're not about burning shit down yet.
Yeah.
they do that later. We built in a different way, my friend.
There would have been no way.
But yeah, the red room, just kind of serves as like a psychological trap, and it kind of keeps the family emotionally stuck.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It gives them all a safe space.
Well,
yeah.
Nell
I mean,
says it, right? It was just meant to keep us quiet and
yeah,
in the same place.
I'm gonna say, I just said it again, but yeah, it is. It's caught in the comfort of a trap.
Mm-hmm.
It was the safest place for them, and also the worst place for them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the big one that kind of really stood out was like Luke in his treehouse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that was his safe space. And meanwhile, it was the red room all along. It was the trap.
And that is the spot where Luke was most comfortable, most vocal, most like even he spoke differently when he was in the treehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like there's a confidence, boldness when he would talk in the treehouse. Whereas in the rest of the house, he was kind of timid.
Yes.
So,
and his sister would speak for him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the treehouse.
Like with the red room, everyone has like a different confrontation, right? Stephen, each of the sibling, they're pulled into personal visions. What the house believes will keep them passive and compliant. So, as we say, safe or, keeping them just, complacent. Yeah. Stephen had, his whole illusions collapsed when he realized that like family life wasn't for him because of like thinking about all his mental illness.
Yeah.
So he went and got a vasectomy.
Yeah.
So he
was pretty. You know what? I don't think enough is said about that because it's almost like, was that even a point? Did that even matter? But then you think about it, like he was in college and he did this.
Yeah.
That's a screaming. Well, first of all, they probably wouldn't allow it. Just in general, they don't really allow that. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to give vasectomy that young. But the fact that
I'm not gonna know.
Right. I'm Mexican, brother. You just keep having kids over here. I do think that it was a cool reveal because it's something you already knew about the red room. By this point, you caught it. Like you understood what we were talking about. You knew where we were going with this. You knew that these rooms were fake. They had already touched on it with the.
But you didn't know those rooms were fake. You knew that there was something weird about the red room.
Yeah, no, but you did because if you were listening, well, I did because when they were talking about the clock being fixed, and Stephen was like, "Yeah, you had the clock fixed." He's like, "No, I didn't, because one, that's a very specific job, and it's such a hard job."
Oh yeah.
And like you start putting it together, and he mentions your basement that never existed.
Or
your treehouse that never existed. Like we didn't have time to build a treehouse, And now you start thinking like all these other rooms, they didn't exist either. When before it was almost possible because the mom had like mentioned it like verbally and literally and like directly. Oh, with all these rooms, like, so you're understanding this house is massive. Like there's a room for everything in this house. Mm-hmm. So you're not really feeling like there's any shortage of rooms. So
and you don't catch the discrepancy until you watch the series for a second or third time, because you just think it's normal. And then it's not till you watch the series a second time that you catch in one of the first episodes where he's looking for his little brother or the mom's looking for Luke. and asks, Stevie, because this is in the past, and Stevie's like, well, did you check the treehouse? And she's like, ah ha ha, very funny. You don't get that until you realize there is no treehouse.
There is no treehouse.
And that's like, so you don't realize it until the last 2 episodes that
there is no
which rooms were fake, which ones weren't. And the only one they touch on in that one that you're talking about is the treehouse, but it's not until the reveal, like at the end, that Nell says, we've all been in here. It was this for you. It was this for you. Yeah. It was this. And that's when you realize
that's the wow, bricks the head moment.
Yeah, it's different for everyone depending on what their
it was what they wanted. Yeah, it was everything you needed it to be.
Yeah, for their safe space. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like when I think about each of their experiences, like I think the big one was Theo when she's watching again the music video and she's dancing, and when you really think about the rest of the house, there's nothing really modern in there like that.
You're right, everything's gothic basically.
Yeah, and then the video games, and then with the treehouse, it's all bright and airy outside, and you don't really see
that outside
because even the grounds look kind of gloomy and it's foresty and overgrown, but his has this really bright feel to it. So yeah, that's very true.
It's like later on towards the end, like as they're adults now, and you're starting to see like now these visions of the room, as I was mentioning Steven's vasectomy, now his vision in this red room shows him married and successful with children, and and it was everything that he once wanted, at one point, but he was like, look, man, we got shit, and I don't want to pass this down. Shirley, she sees a version of herself like morally clean and in control, because it is revealed that she had an affair when she was mad at her husband for kissing Theo.
What a crappy person she is.
But it's revealed that Shirley, as she's mad at Theo and her husband, and that was all explained though too. So it wasn't anything nefarious. It was a moment of like, I needed to feel something. I needed like someone, and he was there. And it wasn't like she was like looking to have an affair with her husband. Meanwhile, she has to now reveal, hey, I actually did have an affair. So now you see her vision in the red room where everything is like right in the world. She's morally clean. She's in control, and everyone's happy, on her side of it.
Okay, yes. So did you notice that like with Steven, it was like he was basically on the what's the word? Precipice? He was on the forefront of writing another hit book.
Yes.
His wife was pregnant. Things were just great. Like it was such a typical like everything's good for me kind of man vibe, right? And then for Cheryl, she righted her wrong in her vision.
Yeah.
And the vision came back and said, like, where with Steve, it was like, no, this isn't true because you're a bastard. You're a piece of shit. You only care about yourself. You're selfish. And now I'm rotting, and so is the baby. And you're like, oh my God, it all went to shit, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Cheryl, it was like, yeah, I'm gonna allow you to say, yeah, no, I'm not gonna cheat on my husband. But then it's just dug into her. No, you were always gonna cheat on your husband.
Yeah,
and
it was
when you realized I was also married, you knew you were gonna do it. Like it was so mean. It was so mean to her. Like I know I don't like her, but
no, but all of them. I mean, the room played that game where I'm gonna show them what could have been, and then dangle what actually happened.
Yeah,
which was
just hurt you.
And it did it to all of them. Like it showed even Theo, like if you would let people in, this girl would, this is the girl.
You could have had this intimacy.
Yeah, you could have had this intimacy, but you're so like, and then it pulls her back. Like, nope, you can't because you don't want this. And
we're missing the nail in the coffin. That by this point, Nell has understood her role and is saving her siblings. Yeah. She's saving her siblings from these illusions. She's bringing them all back one by one, back to like the real world. from
Yes.
these nightmares,
and then saves her brother.
and saves her brother.
Again, going back to the whole theme of just time not being linear. I loved that in that scene in the last episode, how Nell's role specifically, because she's the one that's everywhere in time, with the loops and all of that. And I love that when they first see her. Well, first of all, I love that in Luke's vision, or when as he's dying, and he's now in this red room, she tells him the two things that Ghost now told him before they went back to the house. Like when he first saw Nell, he heard the voice say "go," and he was like, "What?" And he thought it was weird. And then in the burial scene, when he gets grabbed and pulled into the grave, he saw Nell there, and she had said, "Don't," and you're like, so it was scary. But then now you go to this last episode, and as a little girl, she's telling him, "Don't go. Like, don't believe what mom's saying, because she's trying to keep you in this red room," And so you hear those words, and now you connect. Oh, wow. That's, again, it's time messing with you, but it's the same thing. Like, it's telling you what you need to hear. And then he gets saved. And now when they see Nell, I love that scene where it sounds like it's gibberish. Like, it touches on how people who believe in ghosts, not skeptics. Like, but there's these different types of ghosts, right? Where like you have some that are like just that residual, like it's just what they were doing in life over and over again kind of thing, and you just happen to capture it. And then you have those that are like more intentional, like ghosts that are trying to like interact or trying to knock or trying to haunt or whatever the case may be. And in this one, you kind of feel like, oh, it's that residual thing. Like she's talking and they're like, what is she saying? She doesn't even see us. But then she turns around and she starts over, and now it makes sense to what they're saying.
Yeah.
And then it explains the whole story. And I just thought that was beautiful.
It was a well wrapped.
Yeah.
It was a good wrap.
Like it plays with that whole concept of time, and how time is not linear. Time is everywhere. And when it's meant to be, it will make sense.
Yeah, like the whole, I'm always obsessed with anything that deals with like time being kind of displaced and moved around. But let me tell you.
You watch the Butterfly Effect?
Oh boy, did I. A lot. Even the director's cut. But like
that's some DVD shit right there. You're showing your age, but man.
Hey, I'm all about physical media, son. So yeah, I think the big takeaway with the Red Room is it feeds on unresolved grief by it's not offering healing, but it's offering avoidance,
offering comfort.
Yeah. And like, again, in those points of like, hey, Steven's seeing this perfect world, and Shirley seeing this perfect world, and everybody's seeing all these perfect things, and then the Red Room's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like none of that. And as you all mentioned, Nell kind of comes in as that voice of clarity. And I don't know, it's like when we look at the Red Room and each of the siblings in their stages of grief and where they stand and all of this, because it's not even just about Nell and the mom, it's about their life. The stages of grief kind of apply to them as a family, like the loss, like you get it framed as like they lost their mom and everybody has this place, but really it's kind of the loss of their like family core. It's like, and that's what we kind of get to the heart of once we get to this end. You realize like it wasn't just about losing the mom. The mom was kind of the emotional anchor, but ultimately you're mourning the loss of family, period. The loss of your loved one.
I think that ties in with like the wrap up, like the final act, I guess you call it, right?
Yeah.
Where like you have to right your wrongs, right? And I think like in righting your wrongs, I think like, let's be fair, Luke was pretty excusable. He was just fucked up because of his life and the way he grew up, and almost got poisoned by his mom. And if anyone, he was the most put together because he had already went through it. He basically lived his whole life fucking up and was now 90 days clean, 92 he mentions. Like 92 days clean until like obviously he did drug himself, but it was from the house, right? And then like you look at the sisters that were surviving, right? And they were basically living in their grief, but overall well, right? And then you end up with like the real people who had to like make a choice, and almost the bridge, right? The bridge would be the dad and the son, Stephen. And it wraps with that. It wraps with like, okay, they're all living it. Who's going to take on this burden? Because it is his rightful place. You are the eldest. And in a lot of ways, you're the eldest man. And it's a man giving another man his grief, his problem. And you got to carry it now. And he gives the house to him. And it's almost like he only gave it to him because during the process of this whole experience of everyone going through their shit, he did the same thing he did when he saw Nell, which is not say something. He didn't tell anyone about seeing Nell when she was already dead. It's the season starts with Steven sees a ghost and tells no one. And the season ends with Steven sees another ghost and tells no one.
Yeah.
So the dad was almost like, okay, it's gonna be you.
Well, yeah, for sure that part too. And I also want to touch on for this episode, like the theme of sacrifice and the two different types of sacrifice that you dealt with. You had a mom who, because, whatever the house did to her to make her be a certain way, think a certain way, was willing to sacrifice her children because of the fear and because of everything. And then now you go to dad, who's willing to sacrifice himself.
Yeah. He verbally makes the agreement.
Yeah, because of fear. So like sacrifice was one of the big themes there, where a sacrifice was made for the betterment of whatever the case may be. And so, yeah, I don't know. I thought like it was really good with closure, but at the same time, it really opens the door to like, this is going to continue. Like it's closed. It's closed for some members of the family, but it's now the beginning of the story for Steven.
I remember asking just that, like, well, why wouldn't Steven just ruin that house? And then it shows a flash forward of Dudley's, and Mr. Dudley is carrying a very old, dying Mrs. Dudley into the house so she can die on the premises and be with her kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, maybe the house has a purpose.
Well, like the house.
It may not be a perfect purpose,
right?
But it has a purpose. Like,
I don't know if it's a purpose, but maybe it's somebody finding purpose in what the house is, which is what you said. Like it's a trap. So maybe somebody's like, well, you know what? If I'm going to be trapped, then I'm going to be trapped with somebody I love because. That,
I guess they were already trapped.
Yeah, they were already trapped. Exactly.
I mean, because the agreement, and we haven't talked about it, but they do show Hugh basically show Steven what really happened that night.
Yeah.
And it's showing him what really happened that night. He gets to see the tragedy and the sadness of his mom going through psychosis and basically poisoning the random little girl who we keep thinking is a ghost, who really
ends up being
a real person who was just like a recluse, the Dudley's daughter, which in my opinion, I personally think they stole that daughter. Side story. Because she's this white little girl with blonde hair, and the mom's black hair, which is a dominant gene, and the father's hair is not that blonde. So I don't know what
you
kind
realize
of
they're actors,
anomaly.
right? But anyway.
Well, you're telling me that the people who hired so well, they made the siblings look similar.
I was gonna say he does a great job casting the kids to look.
I think why would you keep a daughter a recluse like that? Not in school, no social security number. How do you not end that?
You're adding a lot to that.
I'm putting things together. Is what I'm doing. I think the real story here is that the Dudleys had a stolen child who died tragically, who they loved, And they were very quick about saying, you know what? We're not going to say anything. Don't tarnish your children's view of their mother. Don't ruin this house because this is the only way we could see your daughter. And let's just keep this going.
Yeah. Well, Dudley said it best. Mr. Dudley said it best. Mr. Dudley said it best to him in that scene where he said there are beautiful things here, like really beautiful things, and they're not yours too. In other words, like this is bigger than just you, homie. Like don't make brash decisions based on just yourself. So, I thought that's important. Yeah. So that house is going to go on because it's the phenomenon of it is just it's already in existence.
It will exist forever.
And others stepped into it, with what they felt as their purpose. And one of them is, well, this whole different family is going to live together. His, Olivia's is, well, I'm going to be here forever with my kid. She wanted all their kids, but she'll take the one. And then his now purpose is, then I'll be here with you so you guys are never lonely, so that our living kids can have good lives. Mm-hmm. So like everybody created their own purpose there, and are going to make the best of the trap, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and you ultimately see with Hugh sacrificing himself, staying there and sending, the kids off, the remaining surviving kids. I mean, Luke goes on, he remains sober. Stephen rewrites a book, the book. And this time it's telling it from a more truthful perspective, I guess. Whereas before it was like, he does what he does. And then Shirley and Theo, kind of rebuild, their connection, and, everybody kind of goes off, and all is right in the world of Haunting of Hill House. And then, he went and made Haunting of Bly Manor.
Now, does the happy ending make you think that it's tricking you into thinking there was a happy ending and really they all died in the Red Room?
That was my initial thought the first time. Like watching it again, it like my interpretation, because it's like watching things and it's just like, I think this time I want to feel like, what, they got out alive. Mm-hmm. You know what? I like it this way. It feels right. It just depends on my mood. Like, but the first time I watched, I was like,
in the words of like Dustin, Will,
God,
Mike, I believe they went on.
Like after the most recent watch, the last time I completed it, I felt like, what, they're good. They all,
yeah.
This was the intent. But the first time I watched, I was like, oh, no, it's bullshit. They're just fucking with us. But I feel like, though, too, there might have been something to really kind of make that clear to us if that were the case. So that's why I'm more like, what, they're all straight. Everyone made it out okay. And, they got out. At the end of it all, it was fucking great. It's, again, that family drama. And that second half leans more, and it still has the family drama there, but it kind of leans a little bit more into the horror now, into the ghost stories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Episode 10 was the most scary, I think, as far as like the visuals and stuff like that. I remember thinking that, like, not the first time, but the second time I watched it, I was like, oh man, like this is definitely the most like shock value.
Yeah, like sure. The rotting and the, mm-hmm. the like more
blood and guts.
Yeah.
So
episode 10 was the final, like it's almost like they did a really good job not making it about that. So they're gonna give you some of that at the end, and it's almost like it was the appropriate time to give you that kind of gore, that kind of like visual fear.
Well, there's a time and place, right? Because you don't want to overdo it. Mm-hmm. But when you underdo it, it's actually more effective, I think. Mm-hmm. So, you give it to us in like 1, maybe 2 episodes, and it's like, okay, this feels right, and it doesn't feel like it's so saturated where it's like it's expected. So when you do get it, it feels special. And it's like, oh, okay, it was earned.
Although I will say that, like, I didn't watch all of it very well, but the It series.
Welcome to Derry.
Oh, Welcome to Derry. Yeah.
fucking gave it to you every episode, and it worked.
Well, the director, he had done an interview right before the series came out and goes, the first like opening scene will set the tone. And I'm like, they say that all the fucking time. Shut up. That first scene set the tone. And I was like, I cannot not watch this now.
That was different. But again, that was unique and special for its unique and special. And that's, like it was different. It was different.
Well, yeah. Different things work for different reasons. Like this would not have worked that way if you gave us gore the entire way for this.
Because you really lean so much on that family, like relationships, yeah.
Well, and even in Welcome to Derry, which we subbed Scream out to put Welcome to Derry in instead. Like the relationships are a huge core of that series, but also too, they're like, hey, we get it. These relationships are important. But so's Pennywise. And when there's Pennywise, there's gonna be a lot of gore. And it's like, okay, we accept. Like if we must. But yeah, ultimately in closing out, when you look at like the overall themes and not going into a lot of detail because we've given a lot of we're all over the place and a lot of detail, and this is a two-parter, but we look at grief as a haunted space. Which really, even thinking about that, grief in itself is just that. It's like you're haunted. Time is not linear, especially when you look at a story like this, the way that it's told. And I love stories that are told in this way, where they jump all over the place to kind of give you, like, if you say, hey, could I splice this and watch it in its proper order? Sure. Would it be as fun? No. So I love that. You kind of get this trip through trauma and past, present, and future, really. Family roles as survival mechanisms.
Yeah.
And we definitely see that with the older ones, especially.
In the house itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Mental illness versus supernatural explanation.
That was my point from the get-go, from episode 1, where I mentioned that you take away the supernatural and this is just a bunch of fucked up family members with mental illness.
Yeah. I mean, and it's alluded to quite a bit early on, especially by Steven. He kept saying it's mental illness is mental illness. So, and then love is both shelter and a trap. So these are themes that recur throughout the entire series, almost every episode. So again, I fucking loved it. I can't wait to do his other series. And this is one that I'll, rewatch value is always high on this one because there's always something new to find in it. So let's go ahead and wrap this one up. This two-parter, just for y'all to remember, because if you happen to stumble upon this and you're like, wow, this is really weird. They only talked about half of a series. No, part 1 was like last week or something. So go listen to that. But Manuel, Alicia, thank you very much. I do appreciate y'all. And as always, to you guys, the listeners, thank you. If y'all got any questions, concerns, criticisms, anything, feel free to reach out. You can always find me at So You Like Horror on Instagram, all the words separated by underscores, or you can email me, but please don't, at soyoulikehorror@gmail.com. Questions, concerns, suggestions, you want to be a guest, I'm with it. I'm with the shits. So let's do this. But otherwise, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And actually, we're going to probably cover The Haunting just because it's going to go with the theme of this before we jump off to Are You Afraid of the Dark for the next TV series we're going to cover. But otherwise, we love you guys. You all are awesome. You know what it is. You guys keep listening, and we'll definitely keep making these shows. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye.
Bye.
Right? Maybe, yeah, bye. Where's Sarah at?
I think that's good for now.
The end.